I hope that everybody realizes that none of us should be here right now. When politicians go out there and they say that this discussion should not be happening right now, and the time is not now to have this discussion, they're right. This conversation should have been had centuries ago, decades ago, when we could have solved this issue, when our parents could have solved this issue, but sadly they hadn't because they couldn't stand up to this senseless violence, but now we are. And we can change it, and we will. On February 14th, me and my friends weren't all of a sudden empowered. We weren't given a ton of power. What happened is we realized that we've always had this power. We realized that we had this power to create this change in our community, and that's what I hope you guys realize. Power does not lie in any single individual. Power lies in one individual, and that's you. You have to recognize that the issues in your community, even the issues that aren't being talked about right now, are going to have to be taken on by future generations if you don't stand up to end them now. Whether it be gun violence, prevention, or climate change, or immigration, or racism, or discrimination, or policies that actively and disproportionately affect poorer people and people of color across this country, right? As a society, we must recognize the fact that mental illness is something that we do have to face, but disproportionately, people that are afflicted with mental illness are the victims of gun violence and not the people perpetrating it. Addressing gun violence as people that are purely violent is only going to worsen the stigmatization around mental health in this country. That is only going to get worse. Because when we talk about gun violence, we also have to include the fact that there is a mental health aspect, but we rarely talk about the fact that a majority of gun deaths, over 2/3, are suicides that disproportionately affect communities across America that we don't talk about. Because we don't like talking about the fact that people are sad. We don't like talking about and asking for help because we stigmatize that in our country. Because if you reach out for help, it doesn't make you a stronger person, it makes you weak. And we can't accept that anymore because reaching out for help is what a strong person does. Reaching out and asking a friend for help when you need it is how you become a stronger person. It's how you enable and change your community for the better, whether that be your community or just the community of America or the world. And lastly, we have to recognize that the only way that we're going to be able to stand up for all these individuals, from the undocumented peoples in El Paso or West Chicago, to the Native Indigenous peoples that can't vote in North Dakota because now there's a voter ID law that says that a P.O. box doesn't count as an address. We have to represent those people. We have to represent the trans people that are murdered in hate crimes that go unreported and elect morally just leaders that aren't Democrats or Republicans, but are Americans that represent us and the American interests and the future of this country and not special interests. We have to work together to create that society. The only way we're ever going to be able to do it, though, is by working on political campaigns, running for office, and voting, not just in this election, but in every election, and realizing it's not going to be any one individual like Barack Obama or anybody else that comes out and saves our society. The only person that's going to save our society and make it a better society is one person and one person only, you, with your vote. So go out and vote.